Welcome to the Amazing Truth Podcast, a podcast where we focus on real issues and have real talk, and as always, provide a biblical perspective. We hope that you will be blessed as you listen.
Welcome to the podcast. I'll use the same line Ezra uses when I'm not here. I'm excited that Ezra is not here because I can banter him as much as I want. So we are excited. This is a different episode. It's a different kind of thing we're doing today. I don't know if the camera is cut, but we have a very interesting podcast today. We're going to talk about what football was growing up, and we'll dive into a few aspects of it. So let me bring in my guests this morning. Man, where do we start? We'll start with their names, and then if you ever played football, scratch that. So give us a name, and then we can jump into this.
My name is Lloyd Kelly.
Lloyd Kelly.
My name is Jared, or popularly known as Shadi.
All right.
And I'm Paulo Vanyi. I'm an Arsenalist.
And I'm Shem Oino, or Gala, if you'd like.
I am Bethwell Okoth, also known as Bethu.
All right, sounds good. So, my friends, let's jump into this. So, growing up, we've either played football. They call it soccer here. We either played soccer, played football, known someone who played soccer, or played ourselves, right? So, and coming to this country, we are immigrants, obviously. Coming to this country, it's not a lot of football going around. And much of it as a culture for us it's either a sport that brings people together, it's a sport that brings communities together. And we're in the era of the World Cup right now. We're just, as we're recording this, Lloyd's team is being mauled. Qatar is being mauled right now. So, but football has been a big thing in our lives, I think. So, Lloyd, what's football been for you growing up? Be it you either played, known someone who played, watched it, you're a fan. What was it for you then?
I think you said it best. Like, football is what brought us together, right? And I think even after living here for so many years, we still gravitate around football. Like, our conversations, we're all in a group where we just talk about football.
Yeah.
And so it's that one thing that kind of unites me. And I grew up as an only child, so I always waited for the sun to come out and then get out and play football with friends, because that's just how I interacted. Those were my siblings. So for me, it's just the one thing that just unites everyone.
Yeah. Shadi, what about you, man?
I mean, similarly, it's that thing that brings us together. That thing that when you are around people with a common purpose, in this case, soccer, football. So it's that thing that enables us as individuals to come together for in a common way in which we can relate.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes in the world, in our lives, that we deal with in daily lives. But there's one thing that will happen in the soccer world, that we will communicate, and all of us come together and talk about it.
Yeah.
It pulls you out of your everyday life. Stress reliever. So camaraderie. So that's the big thing about soccer. And growing up is the one thing that all of us growing up in our home environments is the unifier. Is the thing that is universal in all of us, even miles from home. It's
a language that everybody speaks. Everybody speaks. I know fights used to be solved on the pitch, right? And not necessarily punches, but hey, your team is playing against mine. We have beef. We go there. If I beat you, we're good. We're square. So it was a language everybody spoke. What about you, Paul?
To me, growing up, I never played anything serious, but I love soccer. It's a universal language. I love the moments that it brings. Sometimes you might not win, everything at the end of the tunnel, but I enjoy the moments. And to us, it's this one thing that connects as Kama boys, and that is what I cherish most.
Yeah. Man, we're not enjoying the fact that Arsenal is on top of the league, man. And that's why I say enjoy the moments, man. I tell you, I don't know about you guys. I know you're a United fan, Liverpool, United. I don't know if Arsenal wins, my friends. I don't know where where we're going to hide, but I say, as long as it's not City or Liverpool, I might. Shem, what about you, Shem?
I think for me, just not even growing up, just even now, like it teaches us discipline. It teaches us how to follow rules while having fun.
Yeah.
Because nobody questions. When you go to the pitch, nobody questions the rules. The ref is the ultimate.
The ultimate,
You have to
rule
follow what the
enforcer.
ref says.
Yeah.
And so growing up, it just teaches us that discipline. And then also people come together that you don't know. It's the great unifier, like you say. Like you would go to a certain estate in Kenya where we used to play and meet people you don't know, but still have fun. And at the end of the day, shake your hands and, say, welcome to the team and welcome to the league.
Yeah.
So it's just, for me, it's just one of those things.
You bring up an important point, which I should have also mentioned, because during summer's days, we also, it's the one way for some of us who not necessarily have the time or the pleasure of working out, but we have the pleasure of soccer that enable us to work out, get our exercise in, and just do things that we don't normally do on a daily basis. So I mean, you bring up a good point, bro.
Yep. You might want to hand the mic to Bethel, see what he has to say about that. Yeah, same question.
Yeah. For me, soccer has been. I must say that I don't play soccer that much, but I used to play when I was young. Until at one point, I had a big injury.
Okay.
And then I stopped playing soccer. Yeah. So currently, I'm just a fan. I watch soccer and I enjoy spending time with my friends, just watching soccer. And I must say that soccer is a unifying factor for the families too.
Yeah.
Some people, for example, I have a family that all of them watch soccer, including the mother. Everyone just watch soccer, and they all have different teams, and and it's fun. Just sitting down and discussing soccer. Yeah, it's fun as a family.
Yeah. One thing too that I remember is when you were growing up, right? And I want you guys to think of some funny stories you've had back home. I remember, or just saying that. Okay, the question I'm asking is, here in this culture, they emphasize the issue of sports and arts, right? But back home in Kenya, it wasn't. Like if you wanted to play, I know you guys played and your dad played too. And I know if you said, okay, if you woke up one morning and said, I don't want to go to school, I want to play soccer. Walk me through that. Walk me through that. Anybody?
How do you even start?
I think to me, if you have the talent, there's nothing wrong with that one. But I knew I didn't have the talent to play.
Yeah.
Like anything serious. But then I used to play the pickup games, and I was okay and content with that. But then I had friends who had an amazing talent, and their parents they tried to put more emphasis into that. But for me, I knew I had no talent, and my parents were okay with that, so no big deal.
Okay.
You bring up a very interesting topic for us, because most of us, my eldest brother actually played semi-professional soccer in the Kenyan league.
Yeah.
And he was very good at soccer. But my dad didn't want any of it. So as much as I want to say also I had some level of talent to play, because at some level I represented my primary school. In high school I played some soccer and some other sports as well, but soccer mainly. But my parents always emphasized education and not soccer.
Yeah.
So from that standpoint,
it was always a cat and mouse game where you never said that you're going to play soccer. And even in high school, when you're in a team, perhaps, and you have to communicate to your parents that maybe you're going for a trip somewhere or you're going for an outing somewhere where you want them to support you, I never mentioned it. So that level of support wasn't there. So in terms of either playing some level of professional soccer, sport or anything, we would never have had it in our home.
Yeah.
And my brother can attest to that as well. So disadvantage from
yeah.
that standpoint.
So do you guys think that it would be different? I mean, I see like the French football team, right? Most, I think, I don't, but maybe most of them are coming from Africa, right? They have African origins. Do you think that if, for say, our parents let us play, doesn't have to be soccer, any sport, would have made a big difference in what talent Africa has, right? Because think about if all emphasize on art, and they do it in Kenya, they do it now. The CBC and all, they emphasize on art. But would it have made a big difference if parents would allow their kids to develop whatever talent they want?
I think it would. I think every career choice begins with a dream.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like we were limited to how much we can dream or how far we can dream, just because our parents thought that the only way to be successful in life within that environment that we were in is through education and education only.
Books, yeah.
You know, if there was a class called soccer, then it would make more sense. Our parents would support it more. But even in school, sport was just taken as something like on the side. You know, it's an extracurricular activity. And so if you don't invest much in that dream, even the people who are supposed to come out of that dream are not able to dream. They're supposed to emerge out of that dream, I should say, are not able to dream. And so for us, I mean, I couldn't dream of becoming a soccer player. I mean, it was unimaginable. You know, yet my dad himself, he played for the Kenya Police. You know, when professionally, I should say.
Yeah.
Should I say semi-professionally? He played, and so you would think that he would craft that vision for me, or for us, because some of us had talent in our home. So I just think it's how far that vision was cast or was limited that dictated how we ended up in our various talents and gifts that we had.
And to him, when to him playing was maybe a means of livelihood. He was trying to make money to raise you guys. So, and for him to think that, or maybe he struggled doing that. So I'm just putting myself in his shoes, saying that, if my kid goes this way, he probably will not feed his kids the way, you know. So probably he's thinking this is not the right way to. I mean, you could do better, you know.
You know, if I can add into that, I think our parents, what they did is, I can say, like, you know, they applied the law of averages, whereby they saw more success on the kids who have gone to school than kids who have put more effort on sports.
Yeah.
So I think that is why they were focusing more like, hey, you know, do good on your schoolwork, you'll be more successful. Because I've seen so many families who have gone to school, they're more successful than the ones who have, like, you know, been playing sports and all that.
Yeah.
I wanted also to your question whether if our parents put emphasis on soccer, we would have been more talented, more successful nationally in terms of soccer or sports as a whole. But I think the biggest barrier to it as well, and you kind of alluded to it, the biggest barrier was the economics of sport as a whole. Soccer in, let me say just Kenya for now, it didn't pay at all. Even the Kenyan league right now, I have a nephew who plays in the Kenyan league, and he still struggles to buy equipment, to buy boots, to buy gloves. He's a keeper.
Yeah.
Teams don't provide that. So if you're talking from the economics of it and how successful you'll be getting a career in soccer, that's the biggest limitation factor.
Yeah.
There's the economics, there is the corruption involved in it as
the
well.
governance,
So
the governance of it
governance
is,
is so poor that there is no path to where there's no clear path. There's a path only few have been able to get. Wanyama and Lunga, they've managed to get to that level, but that's not for many of us. Maybe now there's a little bit more exposure to the talent pool that we have, but back when we were growing up, there was no clear path.
and I think, was it a couple of months ago, Kenya was banned from FIFA, was that of playing, right? Yeah. This is 2020, 2021. In 2020s, I mean, that's not, you didn't expect that. So, now coming here to this country, what now, based on the basis on the facts that we've had from back home, what have you guys seen here now? And if you have kids, right, how would you sell that art or emphasize that if you choose to? If you want to go your parents' way, that's fine. But then coming to this country, sports and culture, sports art, what's that? What can you guys say about that?
I mean, I can chime in on that. I think there's a lot more exposure here. And we can see kind of where you could end up at, right? And I think even going back a little bit, if you think about like where we came from, I think our parents in that generation were only like wired one way. Like this, you need to go to school so you can succeed. These other things don't really matter because at that time you didn't see Africans playing in these other leagues. Like there wasn't, those paths were not there at this point. Like that didn't happen. So the only way out was for you to succeed, you have to go to school. But I think here, there's a lot more exposure, there's a lot more opportunities, and then we nurture our kids from a very, very young age, right? So you might not be super talented, but for me as a parent, I would invest in you. So you'll see like my 5-year-old, he's already going to like a basketball camp, right? So that's something that he grows up knowing. I'm learning everything, the ins and out of the game. They might not be as talented, but they know how to get around the game, right? They know everything about the game. And who knows where that's going to lead them to. Like, they don't necessarily have to play, but they don't have to go play professionally, but could they play some college ball a little bit and maybe be a coach somewhere and have, a livelihood? Because again, that's something they're passionate about. So I think here we nurture a lot, at a very, very young age. Whereas it's probably, even at home, I think we're still struggling with that. But here, there's like opportunities and we can see what happens. And we're pushing our kids to try different things and actually do things that you enjoy. Because, again, in a country, I'll use Kenya as an example. You have 50 plus million, Not all of us are going to be doctors. Not all of us are going to be teachers. Not all of us are going to be engineers. There's all these other things. And I think we're starting to see, like, hey, there's actually money being made in arts, People are living very, very well, and they never went to school for any of these, STEM courses. So I think here that's the biggest difference.
Yeah, and just to add a little bit, during the summer, like my brother mentioned, we play a recreational league. One thing I came to find out is that when we go to the next level, the playoffs, and you advance, maybe you play one game, you win, you advance to the semifinal, and you advance to the final. There's actually scouts that come to that game to watch you guys play. And you think about it, you're like, this is not something that I had to go through a university system in order for a scout to look at me and say, this guy is really talented. Can we try him out in the Minnesota United? So to me, that tells me, anybody, anywhere can be anything that they want to be, and you just have to put your mind to it. So there's, like you said, there's channels, there's opportunity, and if you place yourself right, you will be seen, you will be given the chance to flourish.
There's a chance,
a chance.
If someone sees you, there's the other chance. I think that's the word. There's chance. You get a chance. You get an opportunity to show what your talent is.
And you don't have to have money to
know someone.
Influence.
Yeah, right.
You don't need to.
Yeah.
It's just showcase what you got. And someone will pick you up and tell you and give you a chance.
Right.
If I may ask, I just wanted to say the exposure that we get here. I know Lloyd already mentioned something about nurturing the kids at a younger age. I feel like we give the kids an opportunity to understand the game in the mindset behind soccer. Like it's not more about the physical playing, but also how can you play smart in order to score? Because, for example, some of us who grew up in Kenya, I feel like maybe we were not taught how to play what do you call it? Technical games. You know,
It wasn't organized.
No.
it wasn't organized at that point. Yeah, so you're playing physically, but you really don't understand, how can I play this to make sure that, one section actually plays better than the other, and this is how you score and win the games, rather than, how do I show my, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So it's a good opportunity. And I also wanted to say something about, it's good to go back to where we came from. If you think about how hard was it for us to play soccer, not having the equipment that, Shadi mentioned, making your own ball from, bags,
Plastic
and
bags.
plastic bags,
And
having-
sisal ropes.
yeah, I mean, some of us had to wake up 6 in the morning just to make sure you have a ball, and make it. And by the end of the day, somebody with long toenails already messed up your ball. So, every day you're also developing something for yourself. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's so it's a good opportunity that right now you are able to go get a ball from the shop for your kid,
Right.
so they can play and they don't have to deal with all these other things.
Yeah.
They already have it.
Right.
So it's a
I
good
think
opportunity.
football teaches a lot of some concepts. I coach my kids. They play U7 and U5. So there's concepts, and before you coach, you have to take these classes. USA has, you have to take these classes, and they don't. When you go there, I was looking. So what tactics can I use? But that's not what you get there. You're taught discipline, okay, self-esteem. That's what you need to instill in these kids: self-esteem, discipline, problem solving. Those are the things they teach you. So I think we're not bashing our parents, but I think there's that lack of knowledge that they probably didn't have that was shown. Now, let's make it lighter a little bit. What are some of the, before we get into football as a coping mechanism? I mean, we've seen a lot of Arsenal supporters in the past struggling with coping. Right, yeah, and so I think it's right enough. We'll before the end of this part, I think we'll take about 15 minutes and talk about the Premier League. We give you that chance. But
fine.
Football, what are some of the stories or the rules? Let me say the rules of football growing up. For me, I know the one I can remember was whoever made the ball owns the game, is the referee, is the coach, he gets to pick whoever is the. What are some of the other funny rules you guys remember? Or you made? Yeah, old man.
It's
A long time ago, man.
Whoever made the ball can have a handball.
Yes, he can break the rules.
I remember one rule. The weakest players in the team get to pick the teams.
Yep.
So two of the weakest players that
that was one strategy.
Yeah.
The other strategy was a 4-line.
Oh,
What do you
yeah,
call it?
well,
Four-line?
yeah.
So
You go like, yeah,
You
one,
one, two, and then
and then you all line up. Every other.
but that usually people used to cheat on that as
Yeah.
well because you know who you're gonna align yourself with. So
right,
you're gonna be with Lloyd.
if I know I want to be with Lloyd,
Yep.
I'll go where Polo is. So you go. What else?
Another one is like, the keeper, you have to save the ball with your feet and your everything. The ball kikuja lazima unaenda na miguu and your everything. So
Yep, you have to. Your whole body is.
Yeah.
Others were out of necessity.
Like which one?
We never had like real posts, right?
Yeah.
So we used to use
Shoes. You go
Rocks.
behind it. Rocks. Yes.
rocks for the post.
you can move
So
the
that
post.
so that rock, you had to be imaginative to know where is the post? Where is the post? If the ball goes over the rock,
It
that's-
hit the post.
Yeah, that's like you used to call it. What do you call it?
Over.
Over the rock. So that's not a goal. And then it was just arbitrary. If you shoot the ball and it goes high, if the keeper can't reach it,
It's
that's
over.
high.
That's high.
over.
Yeah.
So usually you had to be imaginative. So that's the other good thing about how we grew up with it.
Yep.
You just had to be imaginative with it.
I
as well.
remember
Because-
injury time. Injury
Exactly,
time did not mean extra time. Injury time meant you'd start hammering each other.
Exactly.
the physical part. That's
And there was always this one guy who was the tallest, the strongest. When he started playing injury time, you all leave. And if you're the one that owns the ball, You can get no. If the guy that's taller that's doing injury time is not the one that owns the ball, and you own the ball, you forget about it.
And
Tomorrow you bring
I don't care. I don't care where you played, anywhere. But everywhere there was usually one guy who was ultra competitive.
Yeah.
So his rules will always go.
I think that was you, Shaq.
And he knew what the rules were.
I always see that one even nowadays.
Not much has changed, huh?
Downtown nicknames.
There's always those players who thought they knew everything.
Exactly.
Exactly. And I don't know, maybe they used to intimidate all the other players. We just used to let them have their way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people that had TVs, man. Then they had the
Yeah.
privilege. Then they'll tell you, they'll come back, report to you, like, this is how it is.
And I can remember a lot of kids who, because of that, they stopped playing. You know, because there's this kid who maybe ultra competitive or doesn't like to lose or they make the rules that don't favor the kid. They won't come and play. And that's it. You know?
I have one question that I'm interested to find out from all of you guys. What got you started? What got you interested in soccer?
Watching, playing, or anything.
How did you start?
Yeah.
Is it a particular tournament? Is it a particular person? Is it people in your neighborhood that that got you started and liking the teams that you like? Whether it's a club or a country.
I'll go first. I remember Olympics.
Yeah.
Olympics. I can't remember. I think I was still in primary school. So Olympics, they have the soccer section, and then Nigeria was playing Brazil in the final for the gold medal.
Olympics, 96.
96.
Yeah, somewhere there, right? I think I was in 7th grade or something. So, and the game was coming like at night, past midnight. My dad wanted to watch. My other brothers were in high school, so it was just me and him. So I knew Brazil. Brazil, I think they had already won 4 times by then. So I knew Brazil was the team. I never used to watch soccer, so I knew Brazil was the team to support. So, but I didn't tell my dad that. So I was, because I was in 6th or 7th grade, I slept. I told him, wake me up when the game starts. So he did, but I didn't tell him who I supported. Nigeria went on to lose again. So I said, I told him I was supporting Brazil. You got so disappointed. So I'm okay. So for me that cemented there's fans, there's this. So that's when I think I started watching football. Yeah, and Brazil since then, well, not. There's the issue of Ronaldo, but then that's when I remember I started watching football.
For me, again, I mentioned earlier that I had a major injury. That's how I stopped playing soccer. But my childhood was a little different. My parents were okay with us playing soccer, but I always got in trouble because by the time I was getting home, it was late in the night. I had not showered. I had to go take a shower. I'm dirty. You get in trouble. You have lost your sandals playing. So you're always in trouble for other things other than playing soccer. So I played soccer until I was 12. And at that point, I remember I had somebody hit me with a ball on the head, really hard. And, I hurt myself and I kind of lost conscious for a little bit. And since then, I just stopped playing soccer. So until now, I can't say I'm a pro at playing soccer. And don't blame me why I'm not interested in playing soccer. That's the reason.
We'll go there.
Yeah, please. So coming down to, I think I started developing interest into Premier League when I was around 18, 19 there. And I became more interested, I think, when I moved to the United States, which was, and I'll say for the most part is because I was bored. So again, I watch it, I enjoy it, but I'm not too deep into it. It doesn't stress me up if I lose. Let me say that. Okay.
Don't lose sleep.
For me, it's interesting. I want to hear how my brother answers this question because he was part of how I started liking watching soccer, professional soccer, I'd say. But before him, of course, growing, I was the last one in my family, so my brothers influenced me. Obviously, they would go out and play, and I would watch them play because where we used to live, there was a field right in the middle of the the estate there, and all the kids used to wake up and play, and that's how I got into it. But how I started watching professional football, my brother just came one day and started distributing teams. He said, "Oh, from now on, you're supporting Manchester. From now on, you're supporting Chelsea." I didn't know what he meant.
I know he wishes he picked Manchester.
But that's how I ended up just liking. So it was competitive. Every time Manchester played, Liverpool played, he liked Liverpool. Liverpool played, it was always that rivalry. And that's how I got into it. And interestingly enough, I don't know how he knew this, but he also knew other leagues. He would come and say, "You're Bayern Munich, I'm this, I'm that." He would go, "Oh, you're Real Madrid, you're this and that." So we each have our teams in every league. And I don't know how he ended up liking those teams or knowing those teams even exist. But he was a big influence to how I began watching those teams. Yeah.
For me, growing up, I think every boy or every young man, they love soccer in one way or another. So I used to love soccer, as a sport. But then down the years, came this one man, the number 14, the Arsenal legend, Thierry Henry. When I saw him playing, that is at the time I fell in love with soccer, like way, way, way deep. So to me, I was a fan growing up. But then when I saw Henry playing, that was like, this is it, man. I'm going to support, Arsenal, because he plays for Arsenal. And he's the one that, put me closer to the game. So just one man, man, TT.
Yeah. No, respect, man.
Yeah, like you said, I was soccer is the game of the hood. That's everybody played soccer. It wasn't organized, wasn't anything. But actually, for me, we used to play. I never used to know these professional leagues, like my brother said. But there's this one time, I could either play keeper or striker. Most of the time, I was keeper because I was good at it. I never liked it, but people said I was good at it. This one guy, I don't know if you remember, this guy we used to call Akala. So he came and he knew I was good at soccer, so at keeper. So he gave me a name. So there's a few of us who were playing keepers. So he gave me a name. He said, "You'll be Bruce Grobler." Yeah, and you'll be so and so. So I'm like, who's this Bruce Grobler? So I started doing my research, and I knew Bruce Grobler was a keeper who played for Liverpool.
Wait, you did research as a young boy?
No, like
the internet?
No, you used to go to the the stage where they sold the newspapers.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that's where we used to look at the leagues, who's on top, and those games were being played like a couple of days before, the day before.
So you're getting in for later.
I'm getting in for later. So I was like, yeah, Bruce Grobler, Liverpool is good for Liverpool. Okay, I picked Liverpool. And those days in the late 80s, I'm giving myself away in age-wise, but
You have to go there.
late 80s, 90s. Actually, in 1990, Liverpool won the league.
The last time they won the
The
league.
last time they won, then.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, yeah, Liverpool's a good team, so I'll start watching Liverpool. To what my brother saying that I used to know different teams, that's why I kind of picked up different teams, different leagues, because I used to read the newspaper, I see, okay, the German league, there's Bayern Munich, FC Cologne, those days.
Yes, Frankfurt.
Frankfurt, those days, there were Tony Yeboah and all those
Yeah, and
guys.
Okocha was there, right?
Okocha, Italian league, AC Milan, Juventus.
No, he
So
played for Frankfurt.
that's when I started, reading more into it and knowing more about soccer, European soccer. That's how I got into it. So by the time I'm coming to having that conversation with him, I have all that information. Okay. I can distribute. So that's how. And now it became competitive. Now every one of us in our family had a team, and every time we watch, it was passionate because all of us were competitive in that manner. So that's how I got started into it, and that's how I got started into watching now the English league and all the other leagues. So
Mr. Lloyd.
Mine is a little bit different. How I ended up being a Manchester United fan. So, you know how we used to get new clothes for Christmas?
Yeah.
Right? So one year, my mom buys me a kit for me and my cousin. So like, yeah, we're walking around the neighborhood and like, that's our team. And that's always just been our team, is because we got those kids as young kids. But I think soccer was just always around. Like, you grow up, that's a game that was a constant. Like, some different games had different seasons, but like every time you would just play soccer. So it kind of instilled.
Sunshine.
Exactly. Yep. It was just instilled in you. So you just grew up knowing about soccer. But I think I took an interest more around the '98 World Cup. That's kind of where like starting to really know like who's who. And we had, and I'll just say we had traveled somewhere, and really there was that excitement about soccer. Like, I got to see it in like a different element, and so that got me really, really interested at that point. And then like, but I wouldn't say I have like, I lose sleep over it, because I know there's people that lose sleep. I'm not gonna mention their names. It might be on the top of the table right now. But anyway, so for me, I get excited about it. I think even if I think we were having this conversation yesterday. Like, even if you move like even to like American football, like I'm more now excited. Like I have an allegiance to a team, but I'm really excited about like watching different players, like the quarterbacks that we have right now. Like it's very, very exciting just to see what these young kids, these young guys are doing for the game, and they're changing the game. Right. So even with soccer, I think I've just kind of evolved over time. You see like how the game is being played. I think Gala, you mentioned it before, like you get to see the technical side of things. It's not just about your might, your physical. Like now, like what's the brains behind it? How do we move this and this and this? Get on. So,
all right, going into the last 10 minutes, I think let's talk about the. So in part 2, we'll talk about coping. Football as a coping skill, because I know it's sad to say that, and this is not a jibe to Arsenal fans, but not even Arsenal. Most teams in Kenya or even in the world, there's people that support soccer and are super fanatics, but when their team loses, their mental health kicks into place, and we've had stories of people committing suicide, and not handling that, and also as a coping skill, people struggle with other things, but when they come to watching soccer, I mean, we'll talk about that and bring it home, and what is it as a coping skill. Let's take 10 minutes to talk about the Premier League. Is that fair enough?
Top of the league, man.
do you think Arsenal will go all the way?
I'll say yes or no at the same time, because the league, man, the Premier League, it's way competitive.
Yeah.
So you cannot bank on just a few games. But then what I said at the moment is that for me, I enjoy the moments. And as soccer fans, I think that is what we do. Like whether it's a single game whereby like France, whereby Senegal is defeating France, we enjoy that moment. Whether it's Zidane, headbutting somebody, we enjoy that single moment. Yeah. Whether it's 2010, like Shabalala, scoring that amazing goal at the opening game, we enjoyed that moment. And for me, I'm just enjoying that moment of being on top of the league. Whether we win or not, I don't know.
You're just keeping your heart safe, man.
Oh, yeah,
we understand. We understand you're keeping your
heart. I'm just enjoying the moments, and that is what I do. Like, even for the World Cup, like, the team that I'm supporting, whether they win or not, I don't know. But, for any game that they play, I'm going to enjoy that moment.
Enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
What's wrong with Liverpool, man? Or what's going wrong with Liverpool?
No, there's a couple of things with Liverpool, and I'm going to mention before I venture into Liverpool. Let me just say one thing about can Arsenal win the league. Two things to say about that is being a Liverpool fan, coming through the barren era where we were not winning anything. Then Klopp comes in.
Yeah.
Whatever you said about enjoying the moments. This one thing I never used to understand when Arsenal people say, as in Wenger we trust. Yeah. So there's the same thing in Liverpool where we say in Klopp we trust. So there's those things that they're more philosophical, but they kind of make sense. Winning that league, you should enjoy the journey there. Whether you make it or not,
it's a different question.
It's a different question, but enjoy the journey. Those little victories or losses, and then you come back, they're part of the process, whether you win it or not.
Just
enjoy that journey. To the question whether Arsenal can win the league,
come on, Leicester won the league.
Yeah.
Leicester won the league. Let that sink in. So if
But this is
Leicester,
Arsenal, man.
No.
Leicester could win the league.
Any team can.
Any
can
big
win.
club, yeah, but
Any team can
Right.
win the league. So Arsenal can win the league, especially during this season where Liverpool has a
They
down-
can. Any team can.
Team can. Are they going to
Will
win?
they, will they win the league?
This is a perfect
Oh,
season
nobody
because
knows,
yeah.
Liverpool have a downturn. Man U is not back to the top.
still transitioning.
Is in still in transition. City are losing games
They're supposed to win.
which they normally wouldn't lose.
Yeah.
So they're 5 points ahead
Yeah. Going into
going into Christmas.
Christmas.
Yeah. So if there's an opportunity to be had, it is now.
But I was talking to him. He said before you go on, he said it is still City's title to lose.
Always, even us when you're a Liverpool,
Yeah,
and you're competing
on
with.
paper, on
Yeah.
paper it's City, man. You
Yeah.
know, can Arsenal win? Okay, the question is like, can Arsenal win? Yes, they can. Are they going to win?
Who's the favorite? That's what you
Yeah,
should
that's
say.
another
Who's the
thing. Yeah,
favourite?
Yeah.
It's
City is City.
because
Yeah.
they have a deep squad.
Right. Right.
But then Arsenal, whether they're going to win it or not, I don't know. But we're going to enjoy the moment of being on top of the league.
Enjoy the journey.
Exactly. That's all we can say.
I
for
think
now.
that's about the time we had. Yeah.
You asked me about Liverpool. I
Yes.
think there's two things going on with Liverpool. Actually, the first thing is the hangover from last year. I think
Yeah.
the hangover from last year. They played every single game of the season that could be played, and they ended up not winning they won 2 trophies, but the 2 most important ones that maybe perhaps most Liverpool fans coveted was either the Premier League or the
Or the Champions League.
Champions League. We lost, and there's a level of fatigue, I would say, but also the team is aging, and we have to accept it, especially our midfield. If at this time in this Premier League, the way it is set up right now with all the teams and all the teams that are spending, we are still starting at times Milner in midfield.
Yeah,
All our midfield is over 30 years old. Klopp's engine is always the midfield, and that's the part of the setup that kind of drives everything.
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, you can see transitions we don't handle transition very well. When we have the ball and we are attacking, we seem to be in control. But lose that ball, midfield doesn't cover. And the way Liverpool set up to play on the front foot, if they lose that ball and the midfield cannot help the defense, that's why you see big gaps and balls over the top.
That's when you see Van Dijk running like a buffalo.
Like a bison.
Yeah.
So I think it's a transition year for them
Right,
as well.
right.
So if they can at some point address the midfield,
Probably they have a chance.
they have a chance of
Next year.
Yeah.
What do you think about the sale, potential sale of Liverpool?
Potential sale of Liverpool, FSG have done a wonderful job.
They're gonna go home with a fat check.
Yeah.
bro.
I can't begrudge them.
Yeah.
I mean, if I own Liverpool and I stand to make 1,000% profit, I mean, why not?
Why not?
Business.
Is it the only team that hasn't recorded losses? I think in the past
Yes,
3
exactly.
or 5 years.
So they've been running the team in a self-sustaining manner.
Do you
And
think
from that standpoint, they cannot compete with the likes of City,
Yeah.
Newcastle are emerging.
Yeah.
Manchester obviously have
They've
always had
bank.
Yeah, exactly. So in terms of competing with other teams, Chelsea, from Abramovich to Todd Bowley, who's another billionaire, so he can always finance the
Yeah.
team.
So do you feel FSG are seeing that
They are hitting a ceiling,
correct?
so they cannot compete with the best teams because their model is not competitive compared to the other models where the owner can just
bankroll our team? Yeah.
exactly. So
Cool.
I think
mean,
FSG should buy Manu, I think.
No, I don't. I think
if if I wouldn't mind if they stayed because I kind of enjoyed that model where
They've brought success.
it's more organic. It's more organic the way they build teams. It's through the sale of star players and then you kind of build from the bottom.
there.
It's not
The bottom up.
It's not, where you go just splash on anybody and just bring it to the team. So that process has been enjoyable, even though it hasn't brought as much success as we would have liked to. There's still that success, and even those small victories where you kind of push City all the way. That's also that's something I enjoy also.
Yeah, nice.
Competing from that level.
We do have to wrap up, but I think that I think you want to say something to right or not. But I think what Liverpool does, or even any other team, I think for what Liverpool does in the next 2 years, if there's a slump in their progress, what they do after those 2 years, I think will make a difference on whether they still remain
sustained.
And then for United, I mean, I think our problem is not. It is management and the Glazers and all that, but I think there is that player management that lacks in the team. As someone comes and says, "Okay, I'm bigger than the manager," and then there's those big names that need to be handled, which someone like Ole couldn't do it. But he still brought the results. But there was that thing that was holding the whole team back. Is player management was not, and then we splashed over $1 billion on players. So yeah.
On Maguire.
Yeah, that's why we So folks, this was part one. I think we'll wrap up this, and then it was just football today, just talking about what it was for us. Like, share, subscribe. That was our time for this part one. Join us for part two. I'll be going into football as a coping skill and bring it more serious on how we can help each other as men, cope with this thing that comes in our lives through football. So, see you next time.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Amazing Truth Podcast. We hope you were blessed as you listened. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. God bless you, and see you on the next one.